primarily focus on Openroads and tell you how Openroads is taking advantage of this new connected environment. So if you remember that diagram that I talked about earlier where we were showing some of the inefficiencies, in particular in planning and design and construction, with Openroads, we focused on an entire solution. So Openroads, to date, most people know it as a set of capabilities that has been delivered with our Geopack, MX, and Inroads product lines as a common set of tools that work across all those different products. Well, this year, in 2016, we introduced Openroads not only as a capability set, but also as a brand. And so we've had a couple of different products that we've released in 2016, Openroads Concept Station and Openroads Navigator, and a new product that we'll talk about today, which is Openroads Designer, which will be coming out by the end of the year. But if you take a look from the beginning, with Openroads, the vision was to basically produce a set of capabilities that allow people to go from the initial planning and conceptioneering all the way to construction. So at first I want to take a look at context capture and our Descartes, and these are products that we call our reality modeling products. So with context capture, it gives you the ability to take photos, to take LiDAR imagery, and produce amazing 3D models. So the more accurate the photos are, the more accurate the models are, even getting down to survey. So when we talk about reality modeling, though, we're not just talking about it for planning. We see it kind of fitting in three different areas. So one is the kind of the design area, so being able to add this to your toolkit for traditional preliminary survey and data capture, feeding that into design to provide the design teams better context for what they're designing, being able to make better decisions earlier, being able to produce multiple alternatives faster. But then we also see it being used in construction as a means of continuously surveying a construction site and understanding the state of construction in relation to the construction schedule intent. And then last but not least, on the operations side, reality modeling could play a vital role in infrastructure inspection and maintenance operations. So being able to take those ordinary photos of existing assets, existing conditions, and be able to produce a 3D model and compare that over time to see how things are changing. Now, when we talk about reality modeling, we sometimes only talk about it with regards to photos, but in reality, there are many different aspects of information capture that can take place that can feed into the reality modeling aspects. It can be traditional total stations and terrestrial survey. It can be laser scanners. It can be depth field cameras, and it can be ordinary cameras and photogrammetry, whether they be aerial or ground level photogrammetry. And some of the inputs that we can take in are point clouds, 3D images, and the result is a reality mesh. So the more information that you can capture as input to the reality mesh process, the better quality reality mesh you'll have. So here I have an example of a TopCon Series Pro data set. So this was captured via that aerial device. We bring it into context capture. We can process it. We can see the view with regards to all of the photos inside of context capture. We can produce the 3D model of it. And so here you've got a construction site that's in progress. And as you zoom in, you can see that the level of detail here is pretty amazing. Now, once you have this mesh, what can you do with it? Well, directly within the Q3D viewer, you can edit the surfaces, or you can do measurements and calculations. So here we're just going to do a quick volumetric calculation. We can see what the volume is. But you can also bring this into the design environment. So in this case, we're bringing this directly into Concept Station. So Concept Station took the mesh, basically targeted it, and was able to basically model a representation of the finished highway design that's being built. So we added the roadway, we had the finished roadway, the pavement layers, the striping, and the vegetation. But you can also simulate, if you like, some of the construction aspects. So here, we're just taking the existing reality mesh directly in the Concept Station. We're just laying out some hypothetical construction scenarios. We're laying out some equipment. We're simulating how things might be used. But sometimes you want to be able to bring that reality mesh in and edit it and classify it in a bit more detail before you use it in design. So in this case, we're bringing a reality mesh into Descartes. And so Descartes can be used as a tool to edit the reality mesh. So just like you can with LiDAR and point clouds and rasters, the reality mesh can be brought in directly. There are utilities for separating the mesh, breaking it up into various surfaces. You can add break lines and things of that nature. You can segment aspects of the surfaces and classify them as new objects. So that when you bring it into the design environment, you can, these things are just not a pretty picture or a mesh. You can actually know that this is a sign, this is an abutment, this is a pavement, so on and so on. So that's context capture in Descartes, and the next product I want to talk about is kind of a revolutionary product for us, which is Concept Station. So in this case, Openroads Concept Station. And so all that reality modeling data that was created with context capture in Descartes and through all those different data acquisition methods can be brought directly into Concept Station for completing your conceptual design, exploring multiple design options, and getting people's buy-in on a particular design scenario. So Openroads Concept Station we released in April, and since then we've had a number of different product updates. Our most recently one was in July, and so this is a product that's really used for creating innovative and inspiring designs, very rich visual deliverables that allow a larger group of people to kind of participate in the initial conceptual design process. And so conceptual design and rich visualizations aren't necessarily new in their own right, but what's innovative about this product is the ability to do it in rapid speed. So being able to basically come in the morning, have an idea, and create a visually rich model complete with animation by lunchtime. It also gives you the ability to do more efficient prototyping. So quickly being able to explore options with very easy single-click tools, very easy sketch tools to basically create what we think is the best fit. And then you can explore all of the cost alternatives that take place as you design. So as you make a change, you can recalculate all of the costs, including earthworks and pavement, utilities and whatnot, to understand what the impact on a design is. So let's take a look here. So here we have a design that we put together, and so we just want to illustrate how you can model a bridge. And so in this case, we've got some roadway that's already designed. And so if I want to specify a bridge, all I have to do is specify 2 clicks. Once the bridge is installed, I can then adjust it accordingly. I can move the abutments, I can move the bridge pier, I can change the parametrics about each of those components. So if I go and select an object, in this case I'll select the bridge pier, you'll see you have a wide range of properties that you can change. So if I want to change this to 4 columns for this pier, I can change that. I can change it to a hammerhead if I choose. If I want to select the abutments and I want to add wing walls I can, for an example. Change the skew, and as I change things, you can see they're dynamically updating in the model. So, that typically would have taken, could have taken hours in a normal design tool. With Concept Station, the bridge really just takes a couple of clicks. Another example is the intersection tool. The intersection tool, you can join two pieces of roadway, and then by just simply using the intersection tool at that intersection or that proposed intersection, it automatically will do a best fit based on design standards. So the key here with Concept Station is the ability to model quickly by using kind of the best practices, if you will. Now, you have the ability to override things as well, maybe not to the level you would in a detailed design package, but the idea is to basically go with the best fit at all times. That way, most of these tools can work very simply with just a couple of simple clicks. So in this case, we basically changed this 6% slope to a retaining wall by just simply specifying the retaining wall tool, or specifying a template rather, a different template with a retaining wall, and specifying those 2 points. So if you lay out your initial roadway, coming back after the fact and applying new templates or bridges after you define where you want your linear geometry to be is actually quite simple. And then to produce a cost, it's just a matter of refreshing the cost report. So here you can see a breakdown. You can export it out to Excel if you choose. And then whenever you're ready to go from a design mode, you can actually switch over to the visualization mode. And so once you switch over to the visualization view, you can then add some of those finishing touches, such as landscaping and visualization. You can add you can add videos. You can really create a final visual deliverable that a larger group of people can actually consume. All right. So the next thing I want to show you with Concept Station is a new tool that we just added in the July release, which is for bridge clearance. So bridge clearance can be detecting bridge clearance analysis can be a lengthy exercise. So with Concept Station, it's really just a matter of selecting the bridge that you want to do the clearance on and defining the clearance envelope. So in this case, we have a 16.5-foot envelope, and we only have a 16.37 foot clearance. So all we have to do is we can go select the bridge, go into the profile, change the PBI, and then as soon as we're above 16.5 feet, you can see the volume turns blue, which means you're all good. So red means you have a failure, and blue means you don't. The volumes can then be removed. We've also added some tools for tracks. So this is in the latest release, and so this just gives you the ability to, just like you would lay out a road, you can now lay out track alignments, and it uses, instead of using road geometry, it uses track geometry and typical spiral types. And you can use this with the bridge tools. So in this case, we've got an overpass that we need to add here. So just like we would in a road design, we can lay that out, and now you can see it's an elevated track. If you want to add electrification aspects to the track, it's just a matter of overlaying that over the track. So you specify your start point, specify your end point, and then if we zoom in here, you'll see all the masks were actually placed. as well as not just the actual equipment, but all of the wiring is also placed. And it will also calculate the push-pull and things of those nature for the connectivity. All right, so one of the new things that we haven't released yet, but is coming in the Q3 release, it's just a few weeks out, is the integration with VisSim. So let's take a look at that. So within Concept Station, you can now export directly out to VisSim, and this is in 3D. This can be brought into VisSim, can be handed over to the traffic engineering department. And then from there, they can actually take the model directly. As you can see, it's a 3D model, 3D layout, and start modeling the traffic. Everything from laying out intersections and intersection traffic, lighting, that type of stuff. And then whenever you're ready and complete, you can bring this directly back into Concept Station. So here you can see the simulation in VisSim. You can see it's all in 3D. We'll go and select that output of the same file. And if we go into the visualization section, all of the animations are directly imported. So this is the first integration of its kind with VisSim. You can see the intersections have all of the traffic stoppages and things of that nature. You can see the cars moving. And this becomes a very powerful way for people that are outside of engineering to kind of understand the impact that a particular design scenario is going to have either on traffic or on a community or even economic impacts to a particular area. So the next product I'm going to talk about, so that was Concept Station, and so now I'm going to move on to the next product within Openroads, which is Openroads Designer. So Openroads Designer, as I was mentioning earlier, is a merger, if you will, of En-ROADS, Geopack, and MX. So for the past few years, we've had Openroads capability that's been deployed within those products, and so Openroads Designer is really the first time that we're merging or converging these three different product brands that have a long history and lots of capability and a lot of users into a single product. So first off, here's the product. You can see it's got a brand new user interface, a little bit different than what you would expect in Geopack or MX or En-ROADS, but there's also some familiar tools as well. So you can see a lot of the Openroads capability sets that were available in those products are now available within Openroads Designer, and you can also see the workflow of being able to work in 2D or in 3D and have all three views dynamically linked together is still very much the workflow. So the workflow is still the same. There are some new products. There are certainly new tools in play here, and there's some pretty cool features for doing traditional things in an untraditional way, which I'll get to in a second. So first thing on the product, you have, when you come into the welcome page, you have introductory videos, you have in-product learning, direct access to all the learning sessions for the product, as well as news and announcements from the Bitney communities. You also have direct access to the connected projects that I was talking about earlier. You have your own direct access to your personal portal. You do sign in as an individual, so things like your preferences and things of that nature and the projects that you're involved in, your favorites, all of that stuff will follow you from product to product within this Connect Edition environment. And then you can certainly share iModels and PDFs, as I was talking about earlier, directly from within the product with others. The conceptual designs that are created within Concept Station can be brought directly into Openroads Designer for final design and documentation generation. So some other things that we've made, some changes or improvements that we've made to some of the things that were in the are there in the existing products is the trees. The Openroads standards has gone through a facelift. We've reorganized a lot of things. We've made it a little bit cleaner to navigate through features and items. We've also added the item capability in with features, so not only are you producing a geometrically rich model, but you're also producing a construction asset model at the same time if you choose. So instead of just dealing with geometry, attribution, and things of that nature are tied directly to the objects in the model. We have a new super elevation engine. We did release this in the V8i products as a tech preview, but that's been carried forward and improved in the Connect Edition. So now each organization has complete control over their super elevation rules through an XML file. So there's no longer do you have to have a programmer recreate or create new super elevation standards for your region or area. This can all be configured directly within this XML file that feeds the dynamic super elevation view within the application. Some of the things that you're familiar with, so corridor modeling, for example, has stayed the same. This workflow is pretty familiar to most everyone who's using the Openroads tools. So in this case, you can see we're just going to drop a new template on this corridor. I'm going to change this this grading slope from a 3% cut slope to a retaining wall. And so all I need to do is I can go into my template dialog. I can grab, in this case, a retaining wall, and I'm just going to drag and drop that in on this template. And then if I hit OK and reprocess the corridor, you'll see that it dynamically updates the plan view, the isometric view, as well as the cross section. So that workflow is still the same, but the advantages are with the Openroads Designer Connect Edition, we've made huge performance improvements on the corridor modeler. So Openroads Designer is a 64-bit application, and while that is probably that in itself is not that exciting. The thing that is exciting is that we're taking full advantage of it being a 64-bit application. So we're using multi-threading techniques on a lot of our CPU and GPU process-intensive operations within the application. So what that means is faster processing times for you. In some cases, 10 to 15 times faster than what we had in V8i, and much faster than anything else on the market today. So one of the biggest changes we made with Openroads Designer is the drawing production capabilities. And so this is really what's completely new in the Connect Edition or in Openroads Designer. So first I'm going to take a look at some of the new annotation aspects. So let's take a look here. So I'm going to select some geometry here, and I'm just going to tell it to annotate that piece of geometry or that feature. And so you can see that it's automatically annotated. If I go and change it, I can change the scale, I can manipulate it, and it all is tied to the same rules. Now, if I want to create new annotations, you have a concept called annotation groups. Annotation groups are linked to features. So in this case, we have our geometry center line that we've been using, and it uses this CL stationing annotation group. So we're just going to copy and paste that annotation group, and we'll call it CL stationing no curve set. So we're basically just going to change the annotation rules for the curve set. And so if we go and look at the feature definition, you'll see that in the plan view for this feature, it's using CL stationing, or it was using CL stationing, and now we've changed it to CL stationing, no curve set. And so if we come into that particular annotation group, we can change all the different properties on it. So you can see you have major station text, you have ticks, you have bearings, you have links. And so we've changed the curve set. And so now if we were to apply, if we were to annotate the remaining pieces of centerline geometry here, you'll see that the new annotation group rules were applied to that geometry. And if we want to update that first piece of geometry that we had selected, we would just go and select it and tell it to re-annotate itself, and the new rules would be applied to it as well. So the next thing I want to cover is sheeting. And so on the sheeting side of things, we've kind of gone through what I'll call a paradigm shift. So in the traditional products, Inroads, Geopack, and MX, sheet production was basically an extraction of the model. It was essentially a report, if you will, of being able to use the model for the purpose of creating cross-sections and plans and whatnot. In Openroads Designer, plans are just part of the model. They're really just a view with a set of rules applied to them for how that view presents itself to a user. So here we're going to lay out a plan profile for this piece of geometry. And so if we take a look here, we have, we look at the sheet index for the model. So each one of these sheets is a representation of the model. It's just a view, and you can see the sheet index is actually embedded in the model. At any point, we want to produce PDFs of any of those sheets. It's just a matter of selecting which ones we want from the sheet index, and now you have a PDF representation of all of those sheets. Now, that's pretty cool, but the real cool part of it is if you go and change this, right? If you change anything about the model at any point, it automatically changes the sheet. So we'll take a look at that with the cross-section example. So we're going to lay out our cross-section rules. As you can see, those cut planes were laid out based on those intervals that were defined. We have our sheet index for all of our cross-sections. We can navigate to them. And if we take a look here, we'll zoom in and let's take a look. So here we have a 4% or 4:1 cut slope. And so if we go back into the model and we change that, so we're just going to change the template. We'll select it, select that point, we'll go from 4% to 6%. We'll update the model. And so now if we go and navigate over to one of our sheets, you'll see that all of the sheets were updated accordingly. So now that's a 3:1 or 33% slope. And the same is true for cross sections. At any point you want to go to PDF, produce electronic paper, or if you want to plot, it's just a click of a button. So one of the other things we've added to the product is this, and this is by virtue of our cloud services, is our component center. So our component center gives you a location for organizations to manage their content and allocate content to specific projects. So an organization may have specified preferred vendors for lane barriers, for signals, for signage, for any type of roadway components. And so by defining those through the cloud, these components are then available in all of the respective applications. So we'll just go over to road traffic here. We'll browse down and we'll take a look at, in this case, we're just going to select a sign. So here we have an overhead sign or gantry. And so we'll place this component. You'll notice the component's not just a static component. It has attributes and properties that you can change, giving you flexibility on how you want to place that component. So it may be the same component from an individual manufacturer, but they may have multiple configurations on some of the assembly. Maybe the signs are the same, but maybe the widths change, or maybe the structural elements that for the overhead aspects are different. And so all of those are defined as parametric objects. So in this case, you can see we've used the same component in 3 different scenarios. And based on the parametric values that you define, it basically places itself differently. So Openroads Designer provides a wider range of distributables. We talked about iModels, we talked about PDFs, we talked about the new generation of documentation for plans, for profiles, for cross-sections. We also have the ability to provide direct input into machine guidance equipment, everything from grading to paving and piling. We've made some advancements. We built upon the advancements that we had in our V8i products to improve this and even make this better and provide automated machine guidance input into a wider variety of machinery. And so the Openroads Designer is, we covered quite a few things in this presentation about the product. There's a lot more stuff to come. All of the underground utilities, our subsurface utilities capabilities, those will be embedded in this product. Descartes capability will also be included in this product as well. So some of these things were included as add-ons in the VAI world. In the Connect Edition, they will just be part of the basic capability within the product. So a lot more stuff to come, a lot more great stuff we'll be showcasing over the next coming weeks and months. But last week, we started our limited access release. So for those of you who are interested in the limited access release, you can email your account manager or get in contact with your account manager or any of your Bentley contacts, and we can discuss giving you an invitation to that limited access release. Will also be that'll be followed by some public releases that are coming out this fall. So exciting things on that front. So one of the other things that's actually included within Openroads Designer is some of the tools for geological modeling, and so in this case our Ghent Civil Tools. And so Ghent Civil Tools is not only a capability within Openroads Designer, but it's also a product in its own right for people who are geotechnical engineers who are laying out drill plans and things of that nature. So they're maybe doing preliminary investigation, trying to reach a no-go decision for a particular design. So in this case, the Ghent Civil Tools, you can bring in the traditional map information. You can go out and hit existing Ghent databases that have historical information. You can bring in all the historical data. Of course, you can bring in the designs that were created in Openroads Designer, whether you're in this product or you're just using these natively within the Openroads Designer. You can bring in the geological model. You can overlay this with the map model and the design. So you've got a very rich set of data to make a decision. So in this case, you can see that this design is overlapping 2 different geological zones. You've got all your raster data that you can bring in as well. And so that gives you a very rich environment to kind of lay out your new drill plan for a particular design. So once this is laid out, you can actually submit all of these locations back into the Ghent database, either from Openroads Designer or from the Ghent Civil Tools standalone product. So once it's in the database, you can go out and do your traditional geotechnical work. You can do site investigation operations. Once you've done the drilling, you can do your lab testing, as well as all your material property design and produce all of your reports, your strata reports, and things of that nature. And so once all that detail work's been done, you can also bring this information back into Openroads Designer or back into Ghent Civil Tools standalone. So in this case, I'm going to go out and I'm going to grab all of the detail. Now I'm working in 3D, so I'm going to go out and grab the detail borehole information. So now you can see I've got the boreholes in 3D. If I zoom in to this particular location, I'm just going to select this particular borehole. So if I zoom in on this particular borehole, I can select the actual borehole. I can isolate individual the layers or the strata. I can apply display styles to the borehole itself, so if I want to see it like that, or I can isolate to a particular material type. And so if I isolate from a particular material type, I can also use some of the utilities to basically extrapolate from the material locations to an actual terrain model. So if you want to produce a subterranean model or surface design, you can for each material type. So this is particularly useful for plans production within Openroads Designer, or just visualizing profiles and things of that nature within Ghent Civil Tools. So in this case, we've got a proposed alignment. We've got our bare earth. We've got the boreholes, and we've got the sandstone surface shown below. So in this case, I can identify that I've got some organic material here. This is exactly where my bridge piers are going to be going, so I know I'm going to have to probably excavate that. I can see where the sandstone is, so I know what depth the bridge piers are going to have to go at. And so from there, I can calculate my depths. I can calculate the cut and fill that's going to have to take place there for my bridge design, which is a nice segue to the next product I'm going to talk about, which also sits within our detailed design space, which is OpenBridge Modeler. So OpenBridge Modeler is our detailed design bridge modeling tool that also interfaces with bridge analysis, allows you to produce your deliverables, compare quantities and costs, develop steel and concrete details, and create intelligent 3D models that are based on the Openroads model format. So in this case, we can bring in the design from Openroads Designer, or for that matter, we can bring in the design from Openroads Concept Station. And so conceptual designs that were designed in Concept Station, you can drop and recreate as detailed designs. So in this case, you can go from a basic conceptual design to a very detailed design. You can produce all of your plans, and then once your bridge designs are complete, you can go directly out to the different analysis packages for performing finite element analysis on the actual design. So in this case, we're going to take this out of OpenBridge Modeler, and we're going to bring it over into LEAP, or you can bring it into REM. You can also take the designs into ProConcrete for doing a lot of the steel fabrication detailing as well as concrete detailing. You can finalize visualizations directly within the product, just like you can with Openroads Designer. So that kind of completes the detailed design portion of the discussion. And the next product I want to talk about is once you're done with design is the ability to create amazing visualizations. And so LumenRT is a new product that we added to our product line last year. And so its focus is not just about creating amazing visualizations, which it does, but it's really about who is able to do this. So historically, visualizations were done exclusively by a visualization team, and it required a certain skill set, if you will, to actually produce those deliverables. But with LumenRT, this is a visualization tool geared towards the engineers and designers who are actually creating the design. So with the touch of a button, you can go directly from within Openroads or OpenBridge Model or even MicroStation and click Create a Package. It goes directly out to LumenRT. And from there, you can basically add all of the visualization aspects that you would want. Everything from skyline features to animations, vegetation, landscaping, time of day, seasonal information, all those different types of aspects. And it's all done with 10 tools. So it's not a tool that takes you